And so we're going to start with some we're going to start running some Python, and we'll, if you click on your, if you search for Python after it's been installed, you have a couple things. You have idle, and then you'll have Python. I have a few versions on here, so it's kind of messy on mine. But I'm going to click on this. This thing that says Python 3.8. We're going to use idle later, but for now, we're just going to use the interactive interpreter. And that will bring up this console window. I'm going to change mine so it's a little bit larger so that's easier to see. And let's type print, open parentheses, hello world. And it should say hello world. So raise your hand if that worked for you. Cool. So congratulations, you're all programmers. We have a few more details to the rest of the semester figured out, but that's essentially programming. Is we put in a command and it does what we want it to do. Now there's some so this is working at the, this is just working at the interpreter level. It's just taking in one command and write another. We're not, this is not a full program yet. We're just doing some code. Now watch what happens if I just type some random stuff in. If I type some random stuff in, what you should get when you do that is syntax error, invalid syntax. What that means is basically that's the interpreter telling you it doesn't understand what you're doing. And if you make little mistakes, like if I put 2 R's in, you and I can figure out that that really meant print hello world. But the compiler says, hey, I don't know what print is. The primary difference between our computer or our programming and working with people is that it's very, very specific. Words have to be spelled exactly right. And there are other things too. For example, if I say print hello world without the quotes around this text, it gets confused. It says invalid syntax. And the reason is that these double quotes around this text make this be, it says to the computer, hey, this whole thing is a string. It's a piece of text. And so if we don't do that, when it read this, it thought hello was a command or a variable because it didn't see it between the two quotes. So this is a string. And if I can even type it here at the interpreter and it will just echo it back. But if I put hello world without it, it thinks I'm actually trying to do a command. So when we just want to specify some words as some text, we wrap it in some double quotes or even some quotes. If we want to specify commands or variables, then those get typed outside of quotes. Does that make sense? So let's see. So I went over installing Python. I'm going to go over the final project here. We'll have to review this as we go, but basically, this project will be due on the last day of class. And what I'm going to ask you to do is make a program. You'll learn what these things are later. That will use loops and conditionals, exception handling, the ability to save and retrieve data using files or databases, the ability to get user input and provide output to the user either through a GUI graphic user interface or console application. And it's going to need to be a program that has a reasonable level of complexity. And if possible, what I'm going to ask you to do for your final project is do something related to your degree or major. So if you're if you're an ArcGIS, or if you're a GIS student, maybe do something like a QGIS extension or something like that. If you're in network administration, maybe make some kind of utility to help you do some kind of task. Or, if you're a programmer, you could do pretty much anything you wanted. You could even make a game if you wanted. You can do whatever you want, but the goal of this thing is really to give you a project that you might likely keep working on or playing with later on. I find that a class like this gives you kind of the fundamentals, the syntax, things like that. You'll do the programs and the tasks. You'll get the fundamentals, but if you don't keep playing with programming afterwards, you don't tend to get good at it, and you lose it pretty easily. So if there's something that grabs your interest, hopefully it's something that maybe you may not even work actively on all the time, but every once in a while you go back to it and you throw a little bit of extra functionality and code into it, and it just sustains your interest in learning more and more about programming. That will make you actually be a really good programmer. What I'm going to give you is kind of the fundamentals and the basics to get started. So that will be so you don't have to work on this obviously right away, but I just want to present it here at the beginning of class so that you can think about what you might want to do as you go through. Feel free to ask me about about your final project. If you need help with your idea, or if you want to know if it could work well. There's actually some projects in the back of the book that might be useful. There's some, if you're interested in game development, pygame.org has a framework for building games, and there's tutorials on there. So those are some options for that. Any questions on what the final project for this course will be? Cool. Well, usually I don't do a whole lot in this one because I need people to have time to install the application, and so that's pretty much what we'll do for today. The next class we will get into let's see. We'll get into numbers and expressions, and so what I'd like you to do is read chapter 1 of the book, and I have recordings from previous recordings of a previous class I did here. You can look at those if you want, but we'll be doing this next time, and there's nothing to turn in for this one. At the end of each class, though, what I will have people do is turn in there'll be a turn-in area where everything we do in class, you'll just save it and save it to this assignment area here, and we'll go over that when we finish next one as well. We have something called Hackerspace. Actually, yes. So there's a team site for Hackerspace. If you click on that, it'll take you there. Hackerspace is an activity that usually when we were meeting face to face, we met on Fridays at 10 o'clock. I think we're still having meeting activities like that, but it's a place where our robotics competition team meets. There's an esports league. There's and it's also I will teach some additional topics there. Usually on Fridays, we'll have different presentations, and so if you're interested in any kind of these competitions or game jams or things of that nature, you can check out the Microsoft Teams site, and Kerry Bruce runs that. He also does a course called CIS. I forgot the name of the. I'll get that, but it's the IoT course where where you can take this, and it works really well with this with learning Python. It's Internet of Things, where you get to build things with Raspberry Pi, circuit boards to control robots and make a whole bunch of physical computing things. So if you're interested in physical computing, after this dovetails well into that, because they use a lot of Python to code those devices. And then he also takes a team to Britain every year for the PyWars competition. So they always need people who know how to code Python. So during this course or after this course, if you're interested in that, that's an opportunity as well. So I encourage you to check out Hackerspace, and then we'll go over the first program next time. So are there any questions about the course? Then that's all I have for today, and I'll see you next time. And if anyone needs help installing, let me know.
Hello, this is Troy. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, I missed that. Could you repeat?
My name is Troy. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So, sweet. Yeah, I know my mic kind of sucks. Anyways,
That's working good.
Great. So we're only installing the Python 3.8 32-bit console application, or are we supposed to download anything else?
I installed the whole package from Python 3.8. That will include idle.
Really good. Okay.
And that'll give us everything we need.
Thank you.
Thank you.